Hello, we're back. It's Miracle Mom and Michael.
It's Miracle Mom and Michael.
There she is. That lovely voice that everybody's been waiting for. Um,
We're,
what were you gonna say?
oh, nothing. We're back.
We're back. So, do you have any questions? This is a behind the scenes segment, behind the scenes of Tales of Truth. Um, do,
Oh,
I'd
okay.
like to get some of your reaction and any questions you have about anything. The building the channel or the trip, some of the content you've watched, anything at all, or I can just babble on about anything at all.
Well, of course, I'm fascinated with everything you post. At that historic church site in Armenia where you were, I mean, I want something to draw me into the monitor, into the video, onto the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm probably having a totally different experience with it than any of the other viewers.
Guaranteed,
Because I
guaranteed.
said it just because I know where it's all going. I have a little more information than other people,
Right.
but it's I don't know. Inside that church, I keep saying to myself, here's this building, these rocks, these stones, the remnants of a church that has existed since what, the 4th century AD?
Well, that particular structure, and I have to clarify with my historian, that structure is not as old as the story, as the thing that happened there. So the pit,
Oh, okay.
when I go down into the pit,
Yeah, right.
that pit is more than 1700 years old. That's solitary
Yeah.
confinement that was used. I don't know how long before that event, but after that event, I think that particular structure was a couple of centuries later. It's at least a couple of centuries later. But
You're breaking up.
sorry, that structure that you see in those clips, the church where the service is being held, that
Yeah.
that is at least, it's probably a couple of centuries after the events with Saint Gregory. But that still puts it at 1500 years old, 1400 years old maybe.
Oh,
But it's
what's a couple centuries when you're talking about 1700 years?
exactly. So I mean, guaranteed there were services and events held at that location probably very soon after the events that took place there, but the structure itself that is standing there now is, you know it's no more than probably 1500 years old. But
Are those church services like the one you filmed in that structure? Are they held for the sake of tourists, or is that actually a church service for the community around that area?
that service that they held there happens in every Armenian Apostolic church around the planet.
Okay.
The things they were doing there are exactly what happens in Armenian Apostolic churches. As I started on the project, I went to an Armenian Apostolic church here. There's one in Montebello, California,
Oh, okay.
and I think it's the first Armenian Apostolic church in California. So it's been around for a while. And I went in. It's like a 2-hour service. The whole thing is in Armenian. The whole thing looks exactly the way. I mean, it's not with the ancient stones, but it's the exact same kind of
Yeah.
altar, the same singing, the same chanting, the same ritual, the incense, and except in the one that I went to, there was a monitor on each side of the sanctuary where you could see an English translation of what they were saying.
Oh,
And so,
interesting.
somebody asked me recently, they're like, "Well, is the Armenian Apostolic Church, is it like Orthodox Christianity? I mean, is it real Christianity?" And I said, "Dude, 97% of every word they say in the service comes straight out of the Bible. Like
Yeah.
everything they're saying is just reciting scripture. There's
Wow.
sections where they do Psalms. There's sections where they do Old Testament, New Testament. Every word they're saying in Armenian is straight from the scripture. And then there's like 3% of what they say is current events. Like the pastor, probably not at that service in Armenia at that particular
Yeah.
location, but at the church I went to, there was, you know, maybe 5 minutes of the minister or the, I don't even know what the priest saying, you know, something about current events or whatever. Pray for this, pray for
And
that.
and at the church in Armenia where you were, they have no problem with filming the way you filmed,
Well,
or was that a special, um, a special thing for you guys?
no, let's just say we showed up and shoved our camera in there and nobody told us to leave.
Really? Wow.
And
Because
then,
I didn't see anybody else with cameras. Some had cell phones, I noticed,
yeah,
but
well, that's kind of my method when I'm in charge of a crew out in the field. You know, depending on the circumstances, it's like, let's just do this. It's ideal. Like in Hollywood, you want to get advance notice and contact the
yeah,
people. You want to get releases ahead of time. That's just
right.
not possible when you're doing investigative journalism like this project is. It's like, you know, I didn't know all the places we were going. I tried to find some things out, but as you watch this YouTube channel, 90% of everything that happens just happened. It's just like,
Okay.
okay. It's, you know, some of it was prearranged. We got a couple interviews ahead of time, but you know, we did like 15 interviews, I think, throughout the 35-day trip. Most of them are in Armenia, actually. But in that particular location, I couldn't believe a service was going on. I'm like, I can't. Oh my gosh, it's Sunday. You know,
Yeah.
so it was not planned. They didn't know we were coming, and we
Okay.
just shoved our way in there. And then we got that interview with the abbot at the end, and he signs off. Right? That's the thing you would want to have ahead of time. You'd want to have a location
Yeah.
release. You want to have a location release, and then you'd want to have a uh, release for interviews. And so, but he signed off on those. And another thing, in foreign countries, a lot of the rules that apply over here in Hollywood don't apply. I kept, like,
Yeah.
whenever I was interviewing people, um, sometimes it would just be man on the street. I'm like, hey, will you sign a release? You're like, you don't need me to sign a release. Yeah, I'll let you use it. No problem. Like, you don't understand. My lawyer is going to require one.
Yeah.
My
Right.
lawyer is going to tell me you can't use that footage if you don't get one. So, you know,
Right.
we followed the rules, our rules, but over there they're like, don't worry about it. And so
Wow.
it gave us some liberty or, you know, comfort to go and just do whatever. And then people signed the releases. So, you know, it's all legal and above board, but it wasn't planned. Everything you saw was everything, the vast majority
Yeah.
of what this channel is going to show you is just, it's just
Well, and
unfolding.
you had the advantage of your crew members were Armenian, right?
My historian and my fixer, that guy Garo.
The camera guy.
No,
Oh.
my historian, and then the other guy, the guy who was driving us.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, my camera guy, he lives in the same town I live in.
Oh. Okay. Got it.
Um, well, that was a good behind the scenes segment. I was going to say, hey, you have any more questions? But we're gonna move on. We're gonna go do another segment.
Okay.
So we're gonna sign off here.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Don't forget to click the things, you know, the buttons and the you know, the bell. If you want to get notifications, like, subscribe, click the bell. But most importantly, share this. Share it right now. Go share and pass it on to someone else. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.